Okay, we're gonna call this meeting, this special board meeting of the Housing Authority in the County of Monterey to order at 5:31 p.m. And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Chair John Wizard, absent. Vice Chair Hans Buller,
Present.
Commissioner Kevin Hill,
Present.
Commissioner Kathleen Bellastaros,
Present.
Commissioner Viviana Gama,
Present.
Commissioner Francine Goodman. Is Francine on that day?
No, she's trying to log in. She's having issues on her end.
Okay. She comes on and we'll mark her present.
And Gabby, is there, are there any members of the public here in attendance or online?
No.
Okay. So, since there are no members of the public in attendance or on the line, we will skip public comment, which is item 3, and we will move on to item 4A, new business resolution 3089, resolution to update the housing choice voucher administrative plan by preference deletion.
Oh, no. This is just to update the administrative plan.
Okay.
So Gabby, you need to take that off by preference deletion. Okay, so I've been working very closely with the Section 8 department. We're reviewing parts of the administrative plan and just looking at the program overall. I ran a key indicator report from the Yardage Southwest system to try to figure out some of the areas that are concerned why we're not meeting our max utilization as far as issuing vouchers and spending the monies that we've been awarded. And so I've highlighted these issues that I think would help us in all of those areas. And so I'm going to talk about them in order like I got them on the memo. So the first one is the voucher occupancy guidelines. Right now, HECM has it where 2 people have to be in a bedroom. And so when I ran the key indicator report, it showed that we mostly house 1 and 2 bedrooms. We don't really have any families for 3, 4, and 5s. The reason being is that we make 2 people stay in every bedroom. With the amount of funding that we receive and just to allow the family to have each child have their own bedroom, I would like to change that in the admin plan so that every person can have their own bedroom. Now, a married couple, of course, will have 1, and you still can do a max of 2 people in a bedroom. But now, if we make this change, if you have a family and it's like, for example, a mother, her son, and a daughter, all 3 of them, regardless of age, can have their own bedroom. This will help us with voucher issuance and it'll help us with utilization because we have had a number of families that turned down vouchers because they would have had to get a 2-bedroom and they really wanted their kids to be able to have separate rooms. So that's one of the recommendations. The second one is the briefings. We do all our briefings in person. They're all over the in person. But this is a county housing authority. So we have people with transportation issues. We have people that live in South County. They always cannot get to these briefings. About 2 months ago, I noticed we had a lot of no-shows. And I'm not sure of all of the reasons, but I'm sure if we do more things remote, that would allow some of these families to take advantage. So I want to go through and could also, when COVID came, they started allowing remote briefings. They did it under a waiver. That waiver's expired. So now it's on the housing authority if they want to go that route or not. So I think what we should do throughout the admin plan is change all of the briefings so they can be in person or remote. I really think we can affect a lot more families that way and still keep up a high quality of service. And actually it'll kind of help because when you do a remote, you can have a sign-in sheet online, you know, you got the video, they got questions, they can go back and see it. So So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, well,
Oh, okay. Hey, Francine. Yeah, so we were just going over, the packet. So just to quickly kind of catch you up. We're talking about the first resolution, increasing the bedroom sizes so that the families will have more choices and each person can get their own bedroom, but we still can max it out at 2. And one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned it, but all of this is based on budget authority. Right now, we have the funds for everybody to have their own room. If at some time we do not have the funding, it's already written in this revision, that we would stop and go back to mandating 2 per bedroom. So we wouldn't have to come back and vote on it. It'll always be there if we need it, but of course, the board would be informed before we made any of those changes. The second thing, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, I read the, I read the application that you.
Oh, okay. So,
It makes sense.
thank you. So we going through it now, and we just did the oral briefings that we want to do remote, which I think will really help. Decrease the no-show as well. And then the third one on this one is the voucher term, the extensions. I didn't do anything with suspensions, but that's in that same area. Now, right now, Helcom gives you 90 days for your initial voucher, and then you automatically get another 90 days to find somewhere to stay if you need it. So that's 180 days. That is a lot of time to hold up a voucher. And if you don't have case management behind it, a lot of these people end up getting terminated. Because it's so much time, people don't follow up with them like they would, so they just end up losing the voucher. I want to change the 90 days to 60 days, which is what HUD normally recommends. So when you first get the voucher, you have 60 days. If you do need an extension, you can get an extension for up to 2 30-day extensions, which will be a period of 120 days. So that's a tighter time frame for them to find somewhere, but with the improved customer service, it'll actually produce more people being housed. Because I ran a report and we had people that have been outstanding for 2,500 days because they just had the vouchers just holding it. But if we put this type of stuff in place, it'll force the staff to do all the follow-ups, and then hopefully we'll be able to help the families. The other thing on here is the rafter. They have 90 days to turn in a rafter because they had 90 days for their first term period. So we would change that to 60 as well. And that's just the paper that they turn in when they actually find a unit, so we can do the inspection. That way, the turning in of the unit will go right in line with when they get the voucher issue. And then lastly, they have on here that Helcom has unlimited extensions. They can give as many as they want. And I would like to change that so that we can approve up to 2 extensions, and after 2, it would have to be a reasonable accommodation. And I know just kind of looking at this, it might seem like things are being taken away because the time is being shortened, but actually it's putting more eyes on these files, and it's gonna make better case management, which will increase utilization and then help the people to actually find somewhere to stay. Because again, I ran the key indicator report, and we have vouchers that's over 2,000 days old. You know, they've been extended for years because we've been doing unlimited. Well, if a person needs that much time, it's obviously a greater issue that needs to be looked at. But when you can look at a report and see that and don't have to take action because it's one of your rules, then a lot of times you don't. But if you know a person coming up for termination or something gonna happen, it, signals for you to do that phone call, do that checking in. So I really think that if we change these time frames and put these other recommendations in place, it'll actually make us have a stronger voucher program, and it'll be a better service to the community.
I agree. It's like years ago, because I've been in mowing and housing, and like years ago, we had 6 years education. And I guess you changed it. I remember it.
Yeah, it's normally 60 days. I don't know why they changed it to 90. Maybe they was having problems and they, doing it as a tool to help. But without the case management and the other things in place, you really just end up terminating a lot of people.
Yeah, and then it comes to school not procrastinating, because I knew that when I got that's the day when I'll be in my culture. And they gave me, I had 60 days, so I remember for
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I mean, I don't mean, like, I'm not talking about our staff, I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, and I don't know. It's a lot of people fascinated. I mean, I've seen people, I mean, we have practically go out there, at that time, I got kind of, when they know, it's do it 4 days, you know? I don't appreciate that. But anyway, it's good.
Well, those are the basics for the first resolution. Does anybody have any questions or need me to expand on anything?
I have a question. So for this will be moving forward. So what's gonna happen with the families that have been on the list for 2,000 days?
Oh, the staff is already reaching out to all of them. They checking in to see what point this person really is, if they need housing, if we need to terminate it, what we need to do. So we're gonna go a case by case on all of those. They started working on it about a week ago.
And what type of case management are you proposing that these families are gonna start receiving? Are they gonna be like helping them secure housing? Because I understand like the housing here in the county is a little bit difficult to acquire as well.
We have a navigator, but that's basically for the EHB
That's all,
program.
yeah.
But what we need to do, a lot of times, we just need to do a check-in. So we have office assistants. So once a person get briefed, they'll have it on the calendar, so they can call them every week. Hey, just checking in, seeing what's going on. Are you having problems looking for anything? Do you understand all your paperwork, stuff like that? And then that'll spark the type of questions and answers we need to help them to be able to move forward with it. Because we have office assistants, and that's something that they can do, and then they can let the HPS and the managers know.
Any of the funding that we're allocated through the HCB program, are we allowed to use any of that for incentives at all?
We had some, but they spent all of it, except we got some now for Main Street. We got $29,000 that we can spend for landlord incentives.
The normal.
Oh, yeah, normal.
It's just,
No. But now I will tell you, if they have some money, then I put a little team together and we're trying to get them to do a landlord incentive package for us. So we're working on it because they got some funding recently that they want to use for home ownership and stuff like that. So we're trying to actually get included in on that budget.
good.
Yeah.
Another thing, for our board binder and agenda, is this something that we can follow up and see the stats on it moving forward once this starts, just to see if this is gonna work? Because I know being here, I understand this, but if I'm outside and I don't understand what's going on, I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna have 60 days to find something. And then the perception of our county is there's no housing out there for us, especially if people don't want to work with Section 8 recipients.
It is, we can do the key indicators report. We got the HCV 2-year tool and our VMS report, all of that are tracking. So we'll be able to say, okay, we started doing this, in May. How many vouchers have we utilized since that time period compared to how many we was doing per month before? And then we can see if it works. And if it don't work, we come back to the drawing board, but hopefully it'll help out, or maybe 1 or 2 towards, but we can check it. Everything in Section 8 is driven by numbers, so you always have a way to check everything and make sure, if it's productive or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'd be awesome to get some data on how many folks find something in the first 60 days. How many people that get the first extension find something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's nice about this is it says, provided the applicant has provided substantial proof of a housing search, right? So I think that probably makes a lot of sense. Other questions? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion?
Move approval resolution 3089.
I'll second. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Roll call.
Okay, Vice Chair Herman Booter,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Kathleen Delastar.
Yes.
Commissioner Viviana Gama.
Yes.
Commissioner Francine Goodwin.
Yes.
And Chair John Woodward is absent.
Everyone, you'll excuse me. I don't want to leave my son standing out on the curb for too long, but Vice Chair has a quorum, so
Do we
Do we have
the form?
with Francine, you have quorum.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item 4B. resolution 3090. Resolution establishing new payment standards for housing choice voucher program.
Okay, so the payment standards is the maximum amount of rent that the housing authority can pay. But a landlord can charge more than that for rent. And just because we have a payment standard does not mean that's actually the amount of rent that the landlord get because we still have to do the rent reasonableness. But HUD allows us to take our payment standards and we can go up to 110%, and if we get authority, we can go up to 120. So in February, the housing authority did get a waiver and was approved to go up to 120% of the fair market rents. Okay, so now Monterey County is very large. We have about 27 zip codes. So when you do your payment standards, you can do a small area payment standard, which goes by zip codes. Or you can just do your fair market rent that HUD puts out to do the counting. With the diversity that we have here, the way that I'm proposing is that we do a combination. So that way everybody will get the highest quality of service. So if you look at the chart with the zip codes, those are all the current payment standards under the small area FMRs. These payment standards are already higher than what we can pay if we use 120% of the FMRs, because that's different. But we do not have to do one or the other, we can combine them. So we want to keep these zip code payment standards the same, using a small area, but then we want to adopt the chart that's up top that goes strictly by bedroom size, and it will cover all the other zip codes, which is 19 zip codes will be covered by the chart that's up top by bedroom only, and that includes Salinas. And what it'll do is allow us to pay the maximum amount of money per bedroom for the unit. So this way, every client that comes in has even more opportunity to be housed in different areas because they're having the highest payment standard that we can provide for each area by doing it as a combination. And it still works out good with the budget authority that we've got because we got so much extra funding this year. And so we're gonna put the statement in there that if at some point the funding decreases or our budget authority decreases, we can go back to 110% and lower the payment standards if we need to. If we do that, we'll already have approval, but I would, of course, notify the board so that you would know, how much we're paying and change the payment standards that we have listed on the website. But by combining these two different types that HUD allows you to use, instead of just using one, every zip code will get the maximum amount of money allowable, which means that a family that could have been restricted using one of them now has the opportunity to go anywhere in Monterey County and outside of the county really to find housing. So it should open up a lot more landlords as far as the payment standards.
That's genius. Seriously, that is incredible because, each area in our area here, I mean, just imagine how where you fit, Marina is, best rent that the Sugar Grove is. I just know that anybody's gonna be looking to burn out, but it does very important, the zip code. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I personally, people want to. It's a wonderful idea. They will be accommodating.
Yeah, it'll really maximize all of our funding and it'll help improve every zip code.
Thank you.
Do you have any? Thank you, Ms. Francine. Do you have any questions? Anybody got any questions?
Good question. The only thing that I would say is, I think this is exactly what we want to do. I have talked to some folks in the investing space, and I was talking to somebody recently, not here locally, but actually in Texas. And his whole strategy is, we were talking, and so I rent to some families in Section 8, and we charge a lower rent because they can't afford the rent in that neighborhood. And he was like, well, what I do is I go find places where the rent to owner from the payment standard is actually higher than the
Yeah.
market rent. And like, that's his investment strategy, right? So like, this is exactly what we're gonna do. I think it provides access and choice, and I think it's awesome. I just think that like, from a good government perspective, we actually need to not just be like perfunctory, but follow through on, you know, the rent reasonableness piece. Like,
Yes.
is it actually a market rent for that unit in that location? Right.
Oh, y'all have the word Diane, who does the rent reasonable. I would hate for her to check a unit that I own, cause she is so thorough. So, cause like the landlords, they gonna see it and they gonna automatically send in for that much. But when she do that, then it'll actually be the comps to say, this is what we need to pay. But it'll be good, good to have this flexibility, cause it really gonna help a lot of people. And so, it'll give them a choice that maybe they didn't have before. And then in the area that maybe it's not considered the top area, they start having this influx of income. They could, you know, do things with the infrastructure. It's just a lot of things that the change could, really,
No, I think it's fantastic.
yeah.
So,
So we're excited about it if it's approved.
yeah, I will, move approval of resolution 3090.
And I'll second.
Great, roll call please.
Vice Chair Hans Booter,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Hildy, Commissioner Kathleen Bellastros,
Yes.
Commissioner Viviana Gama,
Yes.
Commissioner Francine Goodman. Okay, and Chair John Wizard, so that concludes the vote.
Any other comments from commissioners?
Question and it's not stated, item number 5. In our building, all it's like the housing. You know what the energy, this is what the energy, service is, right? It pays, it helps.
Oh, the utility allowances, talking about the utility reimbursements?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they started a new one now, where it's not just the PG&E that they're covering. They want to do the water,
Oh, okay.
and I just want to make sure it is okay that we apply this, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. You don't actually even have to apply for it. It's something that when they do the calculations for your voucher, that is determined based on her rules, you know, if you qualify, and if you qualify, you should receive it. It normally always go to the electric company. You can send it to the water company and other utilities, but most people do the electric because it take up most of the money, but you can spread it out. But yes, you are entitled to it, and it is no issues with you receiving that money. Oh, you talking about that form that we sent out where they was paying for it?
No, I just wanna make sure.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, you can do that. That usually comes through some type of community action program, so what they'll do is they have money that the government give them. And then they can pay it for utilities for people that's considered low income, so they can pay their light bill, water bill, things like that. It's no consequences to that. That money is allocated for that, and it have nothing to do. You don't have to report it or anything. That's a totally separate grant, and it's allowable.
Okay, my other question is,
They don't pay for water. Oh, Francine, hold on. Francine,
I
hold on.
didn't want to say water.
Hold on, Francine.
Francine, it's Carolina. Hi, I didn't want to interrupt you. At Casanova, you don't pay for water, correct?
Oh,
You don't-
any utilities here.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
And
they
my-
would just pay her light
Our
bill.
cable is included with our rent, $4.
right.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that Zulika was aware of that. I know it's different for some of the other properties. So I'm not
Right.
sure what about that program, but I can talk to Jose about it in the morning.
Yeah, because when they have those programs, if you don't have a water bill.
There's I just got a new application and it includes water and PG&E for 2023. But there's a box that you check off that asks if it's included. If your utilities are included in your rent.
Okay, so you would mark that box.
And
Right,
then he'll just give her
exactly.
more money for her electric bill.
I don't know how to take this, I'm more or less not speaking as a commissioner, but as a tenant. I approached our manager about it, and because of the form that she's supposed to sign and fill out for us to do this,
Right.
and she wouldn't do it.
Oh. Okay.
I think.
Maybe she's just not familiar with it.
She's familiar with it, no,
Oh,
I'll check with Jose.
Okay.
Casanova.
our manager's familiar with it.
okay, we'll check, Zulika's gonna contact Jose, or I can talk to him in the morning. So we'll figure out what's going on with that form.
Okay, yeah, but I got it, I got you application, there's some old application, not application, but there's some old, papers that are dated May 8th, they're not old, but, that were from the heat, not from the water, but I'm gonna call, the energy company, or not the energy company, but the, social, energy service, and see if we can use that instead of the water one. I don't know if they'll let us do it, because, Monica's not having it. She does not want to know it out.
Can we end the meeting and I can help Francine, because I've done that before for a few of my patients at my previous employment.
Oh, okay.
I know all about those programs.
Oh, okay. Miss
Okay.
Gama said she's gonna help you with that, Miss Francine.
Francine, do you wanna hold on the line and, Viviana can help you with that, because she's familiar with the form that you're talking about.
Oh,
So don't hang up. We're gonna go ahead and close the meeting and then we'll talk to you.
okay.
Okay. If there are no other comments.
I just got one comment.
Yeah.
It's gonna be quick.
Okay.
Sitting down here, this is Stacy Pierce. She's the new supervisor for HCB. She was working at HDC. She came over, she's been helping at HCB, doing a fantastic job, and she was selected for the position. On side of her, you all know Sandy. Sandy says she's leaving. We don't know. He's been doing a fantastic job.
Every day she
and-
tells me, are you sure May 30th? If you want to extend it, just let me know.
Yeah, she's really been helpful in getting everything done, especially with this vacuum and that position. So I just wanted to say thank you, Sandy, for everything that you have been doing.
After almost 42 years here, I'm ready to retire.
Oh, anyway.
To hear that, it's like, no, I can hear I'm just a sister. And she really want to
She
stay.
really have, she just hit the ground running to get everything done. She's been very helpful. So,
Awesome. Well, congrats and thank you. 42 years.
Yeah, in August, it would have been 42 years.
Wow. That's
Just trying to get me to hold out.
That's awesome.
My grandson is like, no,
It's waiting.
we have things planned for the summer. You're gonna do it now. I said, "I know."
yeah, but, everybody really have stepped up.
Yes,
Especially,
yes.
them and another young lady, Adriana, so I just want to say that, let the board know that they really participate, going above and beyond to get things done.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm excited about the HCB program. Okay, well, we're going to adjourn at 6 p.m.